Okay, welcome to the session, Digital Services with CAP and Fiori Elements. It's about highlights and challenges. I don't know if there might be any challenges because usually everything works. Haha. So welcome Adrian here on stage, who is going to do this presentation. He's from IP Solution, and I would say just go ahead because 20 minutes is not so much time.
Thank you. So this talk is about, should I close the door? This talk is about how we use CAP in real life customer projects. And we would like to share some experience and some hopefully useful tips and tricks. Our customer is Eagle Burgmann. They produce all types of seals used in the industry. A typical pumping station, like you see left-hand side, requires mechanical seals. In the past, those seals got installed and later on, they tend to get forgotten until some problems occur. The modern seals are equipped with sensors which can measure physical quantities such as pressure, temperature of the fluid, which flows through the seal, or vibrations of the seals. And those sensors are wirelessly connected to IoT gateways. This way, real-time sensor data can be transmitted to the Azure IoT. Real-time sensor data get transmitted to the IoT platform on Azure, for example, via a local network of sensors and gateways. So the digital services package is an offering for Eagle Burgmann's customers using CAP and Fiori elements, as well as to keep track of where the seals are installed, to visualize sensor data we get from the Azure IoT, or to map sensors to the right measurement points or to the right gateways, or to maintain sensors and gateways and send updated information back to IoT, to the Azure IoT, and many more. It provides a predictive maintenance by monitoring sensor data and triggering alarm notifications when critical thresholds are exceeded. So during this project, we have faced many challenges. And for this talk, I have selected 4 special topics. Cross-app navigation, targeting the object page of another app. The correct setup of composite messaging and error handling on emitting a message from CAP to the event mesh. And how to access on-premise data when you're working on localhost. For this purpose, I have prepared a little demo app. So before starting, I would like to share a recommendation. It is possible to use a fixed UI 5 version when you deploy your app to the HTML5 repository. Because we do this because we have experienced many times that the latest version that is deployed by SAP to the Fiori Launchpad may break some functionalities in our UI5 apps. So, and when you develop cross-app navigations, it is very useful to install the local Fiori Launchpad, which is the CDS plugin, the Launchpad plugin. And after installation of this plugin, you need to add a server j&s, which initiates. Sorry, it's the wrong one. Yeah. So in development mode, you have to take this Launchpad plugin, and then you can bootstrap. You can initiate in the bootstrap. And after doing this, when you run the application, have I started it here? Yeah. You would see this. You would get first. Wait, sorry. You go to localhost. You would have this link on Launchpad. at your service endpoints. So just click on it and you will be forwarded to $launchpad, which gives you the local launchpad. And with this, you can simulate cross-app navigation. So I have two simple apps here. One.
Now back to the topic of the session.
One with the entity travelers. So the DB schema looks like this. I have an entity travelers, and this travelers is connected to cities via a linking entity called visited cities. It's a composition of many cities, visited cities, where visited cities connects traveler to city via an annotation association. So let's go to the object page of one of these travelers. And here I have the list of visited cities. And with a link, with an outbound navigation link to a city. Yeah? And the city is, the information of the city is in the city app. So you have to start with an outbound navigation, which is used as a line item annotation, where you use data field with intended based navigation, and you point to the right Fiori elements app using semantic object and action. And here you pass the ID of the city which you want to target. And on the other side, you have to fetch this target city ID as an inbound parameter. And to do so, you need to define a semantic key. And in the manifest JSON, you need to set up, you need to add this allow deep linking property in the navigation target. And this way, you would be able to navigate into the other app's object page. Prerequisite is, of course, that the target ID makes sense here. It has to be set up as actually as the ID of the world city entity, but there was a problem when we did this after upgrading from CDS version 5 to CDS version 6. It worked, yeah. Cross app navigation into the object page worked, but afterwards we got a problem with the creation of new entities inside the world city. Not the world. Sorry, not the world city itself, but composite entities. 1 second. I have schema here, and here I have world city, and in the world cities I have a composition to another entity. Yeah, and this composition to the other entity itself, which links cities with countries, has a key city, not a key city. It has a city part and a country part. Yeah. And when I tried to create the new entity there, it would fail. It would tell me that the ID already exists. And this may have to do with the definition of if I put the ID here as the target ID, city ID in the projection. And therefore, we had to look for a workaround. So we must not set ID here. And if we do this, we would end up with this code, with this behavior. When I enter the city, so some time, fortunately, this local launchpad is not very performant sometimes. So when I cross-navigate to the other app, it would display me the correct filtering for Tokyo, yeah? But it would not enter the object page. And if you look into the network log, it would give you something like target, sorry. It gives you the right thing here, target city, and filter by target city is equal to the GUID of the targeted city. But it still would not enter the object page through this allow deep link property. Yeah. And what we did was to manipulate the where clause. The where clause gives us target city. Yeah. The filtering by target city, and we mapped it to the ID instead of target city. So what comes in as the GUID gets the ID. Let's see what happens. So let's go back to this other app, to the first app. And now let's navigate to the second app again. Okay, very slow.
Adrian, I have a short comment.
Yes.
There is actually a way without modifying any CUP code.
Yes.
There is a mapping possibility of incoming attributes in the app to the attributes that you want to filter for. I look up an example and try to share that.
Okay. Is this available also for this one example is using OData v4?
Yeah, it works with v4.
Does it also work for v2?
Yes, because it's like on the client application side in the manifest, you define a mapping for incoming attributes.
Okay, interesting. So I will need to try that one. So now it enters Tokyo, yeah? This is one thing. And the other point was it would still expose too many attributes here in the URL. And in in OData v4, you can hide them in the annotations. So there's okay, we have name and code of the target city, and we have actually they are not the problem because you have the city information anyways in the target, but it would also expose the information of the source user. So I set them, yeah, Rebel. Yeah, it is this annotation. You have to switch off the information attributes of your target entity such that they don't occur here in the URL. I have tried ID as target ID. Yes, I did this. I'll show you. Did I? That was inside. Here. I have tried this. Yeah, like this. This would work without without me manipulating this stuff here. I could take away this. I have a problem now. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe I've forgotten some. Okay, let's go to the next topic because it's taking time. All right, composite messaging. How do you set up the package JSON if you have to send data to different topics in different message clients? Take a look at the message at the package JSON. You need to define a section called messaging in which you set the kind composite messaging. Normally, you would set the kind enterprise messaging or enterprise messaging shared, depending on whether you need to work with AMQP or HTTP REST. But if you have two messaging clients, you would first define them like so. And important is that you have to mention the name here in the recap section, the name of the message client, and here also. And then you could map them using this route attribute, where you define the topic, where you point the topic to the appropriate messaging client. So in this setup, I have a service 1, which sends data to topic 1 in message client 1. And this queue here is being listened on by service 2. And that would lock what I'm sending to the message client 1. Try this. And at the same time, on message client 2, this queue waits for the second message. So let's first go with the first message. You see here, it got sent to the event mesh, and it got consumed by the second message, which is logging here the number of cities. And in the channel, on the second channel, when I send this to the second message client, it would go to the second message client. And I can test consume it. This one lists the number of travelers. Yeah. So There was one other question that arose when we were developing event mesh handling. When you send a message from CAP to the event mesh, and it should go to this a further connection, there are two hurdles. One is from CAP to event mesh, and then from event mesh to your destination, Azure platform or whatever. In the second case, you can handle messages which got stuck using the dead message queue. And in the first case, you would not be able to handle it in the code. Like, for example, if you send a message here and you cannot do something like take the result of the emit and process it, because you get nothing here. And you cannot also, you're not also not able to wrap a try-catch block around it, because it would not end, would not produce an error here. But what you can do is to add the persistent outbox in the package JSON, like here. And this would create an extra table to handle those messages which didn't arrive at the event mesh. So this is the extra table here, which would be produced. And when I send the message, it gets here it gets through. But when I switch, how did I simulate the event mesh being down? I just switch off the wireless connection, my Wi-Fi, and tried it again. And then you can see that the message arrives in the table. Sorry about that. So it's gone? Or?
Yeah, because no screen recording, you're sharing your.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see it? I mean,
Okay.
all right. Yeah, see. So unfortunately, time is over. Otherwise, I would like to have shown how to connect to on-premise from the local host. It is possible. Of course, you can ask if you like to know how to do it.
Okay, any quick questions in the room?
Yes, please.
Thank you for your presentation. Do you have any examples, like you were showing in the beginning, the sensor apps? Can you give some real case scenario where you use this event messaging and the cross app, just to give us a bit more context?
Yes, sure.
On what's the use case, the real use case? I'm just curious about it.
So this is the overview page, the launchpad on a customer side. For example, we have customer-facing apps which would display a list, a hierarchy of devices, machines. Yeah, machines are actually pumping stations or whatever. And inside these machines, you have these seals, and inside the seals, you have measurement points, and you can measure acceleration or pressure or whatever. And then in this case, I would like to assign the correct sensor to some measurement point. And afterwards, I would activate this machine, and this information gets transferred to the Azure IoT platform via enterprise messaging. And that way, the mapping between measurement point and sensor is created. And afterwards, I can read for this measurement point. I can read the measured data, the sensor data, and display it in a chart, for example.
Okay, now we need to stop. Right, great. Just a small note, if you're interested in messaging, we have also a messaging expert booth upcoming. So if you want to ask messaging questions you never tried before, the experts will be there. Feel free to come.